Good to see everybody again. Welcome back. Thank you, Gina and Christian. We have a special guest with us right now. Sean Brown is a political strategist from Camden, New Jersey. He focuses on issues in the Camden area, but statewide as well. And we were talking while we were waiting about Phil Murphy, declared the winner by CNN and I believe by others now. How did Phil Murphy get to this point? What did he do over the past 8 years while Chris Christie was in office to position himself to be the next governor, we believe, of the state of New Jersey?
I think Murphy did a few things. First, he's not a Republican, and he's not Christie or Guadagno, and that helps him win because he had much of people that are for him or for him as a Democrat as anti-Guadagno or anti the Republican Party. But what he specifically did was, I think he took lessons from Goldman Sachs and realized that money matters. So he took his own money and made relationships in Camden County, where I'm from, Hudson County, and Essex County, where really, as a Democrat running in a primary, if you get those three counties, you're more likely to run.
So you're talking about he donated to the campaigns of many key Democrats throughout the state over the last 8 years or so.
Right. And then when you look at the column alignment, he was in the columns with the party-endorsed candidates who put money behind all their candidates, both on the local level and state level, for Murphy. And, you know, he was able to study financing elections when he worked for Howard Dean and the DNC in the mid-2000s.
So this is something that just didn't happen magically overnight.
Right.
Where does he go from here? Where do you see him trying to take this state from here, and how will it affect most of us?
I think he goes a few places. One, I think he learned a lot of lessons from John Corzine and Jim McGreevey as governors. Picking Sheila Oliver to be his lieutenant governor, I think, was very smart because now he has a person who has relationships with the state legislature, with a person who was Speaker of the Assembly. I think that even though he has made alliances with political bosses because of his own money, his own knowledge, his own relationships, it will be interesting to see how much of his own man he is with his time as governor.
What do you think his first priorities will be, based on what you're hearing, and what kind of tests will those pose?
I think his biggest priority will be two things. One is to just reform and fix the reputation that New Jersey has from some of the rude, obnoxious things that Chris Christie says. I was just reading earlier that right after he voted, he had kind of a verbal scuffle with a resident about municipal consolidation, typically a very boring point that became a national story. I think Phil Murphy, in his demeanor, he's a respectful, old-fashioned guy that doesn't believe in public confrontation as a way to resolve issues, and I think that in itself will be helpful. Also, he's going to have a Democratic legislature, so he's going to have Democrats in the Senate and the Assembly that will, I'm sure they'll duke it out as they did with Corzine in certain ways, but overall there'll be some significant reforms coming to our state.
Now, we haven't gotten any reports yet, but Steve Sweeney, who's the president of the state Senate, is not a shoo-in to be reelected tonight. We don't know yet. I haven't gotten any results on that. But how could that impact what the new governor can or can't do?
I think that, especially for a Democrat, I think that it's easy for the legislature to hold up an agenda because there's so much that the legislature has to approve, whether it's in the budget process or just legislative that goes out through the session throughout the year. Sweeney doesn't seem to have an axe to grind, but, you know, he wanted to be governor, just like Steve Fulop wanted to be governor. And I think a lot of political insiders were surprised that Phil Murphy was able to kind of get rid of the competition so early, where he ended up running against Wisniewski and Johnson, two progressives that kind of were going after the same folks from the Bernie crowd. But for Sweeney, I think that, if the polls from the last month hold true, he had such a big lead in the polls that I think that he will win. It seems that he will hold on to his Senate leadership post as president. And I know it's important to Norcross and others that that South Jersey has a person in the top.
George Norcross, the political power boss, so to speak, of South Jersey.
Yes.
Thanks for bringing that perspective to it. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
Good to see you. And now we go back to the News Lab with Christian and Gina.